Okay.
Like 3 days.
This is page 32. Everybody there? Everybody ready? Okay, we talked about a median when we worked with triangles, and we're going to talk about it again, but with the trapezoids. So this guy right here is the median. Sometimes it's called the mid-segment too, so I kind of want you to know both names. So the median, and I'm going to say mid-segment off to the side. So sometimes it's called a median. I've seen it called mid-segments in other books. But it is the segment that's in the middle of the trapezoid. Okay, so it's going to be parallel to the bases. So hopefully you can all see that those are all parallel. So the median or the mid-segment is always parallel to the bases. And then this is what we're going to do to find him. So the median has a length equal to the average of the bases. What does that mean, the average of the bases? Add them together and divide by however many bases we have. Well, how many bases do we have in a trapezoid? 2. So if I want to find the average of the bases, I'm going to add these 2 bases up. So I'm going to add these 2 bases up, and I'm going to divide by 2. And that will give me the length of the median. Now I want to show you something that we already put in the foldable. So in the foldable, we already wrote this guy down, and this is the kind of problem we're going to do today. So it tells you off to the side here that MN is a median, also sometimes called a mid-segment, and it equals the top and bottom bases added together and divided by 2, because it equals the average of the 2 bases. So that's why we add these 2 and we divide by 2, and we'll get the centerpiece there called the median. So this is very, very simple. I want to start with number 2 because he's the easiest of them all. Okay, so this median right here, x, will equal the average of the 2 bases. So I'm going to add these 2 up, and I'm going to divide by 2. Let's add them up first. What do you get when you add them up? And then I'm going to divide by 2, and that makes x how much? 25. And that one's easy to figure out. If it's the average of the 2 bases, 15, 25, 35. Okay, these other ones, they involve more of an equation, but they start the same. So this median right here, 10, will equal the average of the 2 bases. So I'm going to add these 2 up, and then I'm going to divide by 2. I want to add them in our heads today. What do you get if you add those? Should be 3x minus 7. When you add your x's, you get 3x. When you add the negative 3 and negative 4, you get a negative 7. And then don't forget, we have to divide by 2. So the median equals the average of the 2 bases, so I add them up and divide by 2. I'm going to turn this thing into a proportion. I'm going to pop this over a 1. And how do we solve proportion? We cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply this diagonal, and then I'm going to set it equal to this diagonal. So here I go. What do you get when you multiply this diagonal right here? 20. And then that's going to equal the other diagonal multiplied. So 3x minus 7 times 1. 3x minus 7. And then all I have to do is solve that equation. What would you do next? Add 7. So 3x would equal 27. And if you divide, you get 9. Easy, right? Okay, so number 3, I'm going to do the same thing. So my median right here, 30, is going to equal the average of the 2 bases. So I add my 2 bases up, and then I'm going to divide by 2. What do you get if you add these bases? 6x, and then I'm going to divide by 2. Same thing, I'm going to pop this 30 over a 1 and just make a proportion out of it. And then whenever you have a proportion, you cross multiply. So let's multiply this diagonal. What's 30 times 2? 60. And then the other diagonal, when you multiply it? 6x. And that makes x how much? 10. Beautiful. Okay. And let's do one more together. So number 4, same thing. I start with the median. And then that median equals the average of the 2 bases. So I'm going to add these 2 bases up and divide by 2. What do you get when you add these bases? 8x plus 12. Don't forget to divide by 2. And then what have I been doing to turn this into a proportion? Popping the 5x over a 1. And now that I've got my proportion, which is simply one fraction equaling another fraction, I can cross multiply. So here I go. What's 5x times 2? 10x. And then that's going to equal the other diagonal multiplied, which would be 8x plus 12. Okay, I've got x's on opposite sides, so I need to move one of those x's. Which one do you suggest? 8x. So let's move the 8x by subtracting it. And how much is 10x minus 8x? So I get 2x equals the 12 drops, so x is 6. Seem easy? Okay, so your assignment today is actually going to be due today, because I want to go over it before you leave, so that way you don't have any homework. So I want you to do the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, that's over the trapezoid that we just talked about. And then 7 and 8, I want to practice 2 more kites. Okay, so I want to go over this in about 12 minutes. 12 minutes should be plenty of time. So you've got 6 problems to do in 12 minutes. And this is, what was this, page 31? Yeah, this is page 31. Yes, ma'am. Okay.